I think this one is really for the gender equality advocates, the so-called feminists and co. I detest feminism actually. I don't like to hear it because much of it is founded on things outside scriptures. So today I want to just shed some light on equality in the society and equality in marriage, because they are not the same thing. Now, there was a story in the Bible, the daughters of Zelophehad, in Numbers 27. Let me see if I can read a few of those verses. Now, the man Zelophehad did not have any son. So when the inheritance was being shared by Moses, they were going to be bypassed by Moses. Then the daughters cried out in verse 3. Our father died in the wilderness, but he was not in the company of those who gathered together against the Lord, in company with Korah, but he died in his own sin, and he had no sons. Why should the name of our father be removed from among his family, because he had no son? Give us a possession among our fathers. Verse 5. So Moses brought their case before the Lord. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, the daughters of Zelophehad speak what is right. You shall surely give them a possession of inheritance among their father's brothers, and cause the inheritance of their father to pass to them. And you shall speak to the children of Israel, saying, if a man dies and has no son, then you shall cause his inheritance to pass to his daughter. If he has no daughter, then you shall give his inheritance to his brothers. If he has no brothers, then you shall give his inheritance to his father's brothers. And if his father has no brothers, then you shall give his inheritance to the relative closest to him in his family, and he shall possess it. And it shall be to the children of Israel a statute of judgment, just as the Lord commanded Moses. So you see a story here where Zelophehad died, and then the person that was going to receive his inheritance, there was no son. And because of the cultural belief that only a son should have the father's inheritance, these daughters were going to be bypassed, 5 of them. But the Lord said, that's wrong. Don't bypass them. They are entitled to that inheritance. That shows you that God is actually for equality. Male and female, he created them. Now, in the society, the male and female are equals, in the sense that they can go, the male can go as high as possible in society. Same way, the female can go as high as possible in society. There can be a female president. There can be a female managing director. There can be a female governor. There can be a female pastor. There can be a female whatever in society. God is not against that. But I think the feminists in their naivety just mix things up. Now they bring this same concept of equality into the context of marriage, which is a no-no with God. I just showed you in scriptures that God is for equality. He doesn't want any gender cheated. He made 2 genders, and then he gave them equal rights, blessed them the same way. They can do as much as possible. He put ability in them, and they can go as far as possible. But that is not the same in marriage. Let me clear quickly to you also that the male gender and the female gender are very different. So I see a lot of feminists. I don't really listen to them, because I believe much of their points are very, very shallow, baseless, and really foolish. And that's the truth of it. Because they don't think through things. I've seen some rationales, some thought patterns, thought processes, and schools of thought, and I just laugh, because those that follow them and themselves, they are both not wise, and that's the truth. You have to think outside your emotions. The male figure will always be a male, and the female will always be a female. God made them so. God made them differently. God made the male with unique features, and God made the female with unique features. There are things that a male will do better, and there are things that a female will always do better. A female will always be a better homemaker, for example. A female will always be a better cook. No matter how much a male goes to learn to be a chef or something, or to get culinary skills, yes, there are males that cook better than females. That's the truth. but cooking primarily, in that sense of it, is a gift that God gave to females. It's the same way males are typically stronger than females. That's why you don't see male football teams playing against female football teams. It is never done. The males are typically stronger in physical strength. God made it so, and nobody is to fight it. That's why you hear stories now of transgenders, transgender going from being a male to a female, and then sports teams are pushing out such people. A male that became a female wants to compete among females against other females. Then the other female team is now complaining that we don't want this kind of person because she is stronger, because she has hormones that are stronger. Are you not admitting that the male and female gender are not the same? It will always be so. That's why when you want to have some difficult tasks, you've got to call a male to come help you out. It's the same way in certain settings, a male is usually easily noticed for certain things. For example, now, if you hear the word thief, the word thief is typically ascribed to a male. If you say they are robbers, criminals, terrorists, you will first think of a male before you think of a female. It's the same way if the police want to arrest somebody on the street, they see a male and a female, they will pick the male first before picking the female. If the police want to accuse somebody of fraud or robbery or something, and they see males and females in the place, even if the female was one that did it, they would have their eyes on the males. And that's the way it is. So they will arrest the male and leave the female. Whereas many times, even the male is the innocent one and the female is the guilty one. So you can see that even ourselves, in our innate nature, we typically know where each gender falls. But these people that call themselves the feminists also, they now rise trying to fight for equality. There's equality, and I've just shown you a little bit of it. And there is that distinction that makes the male different from the female. So in a society, a male has as much rights as the female. Everything a male can do, a female should also be allowed to try their hands at it. A female should not be talked down at all in the society. Don't say, you be a woman. What do you have to say in this matter? You don't have any say. You be a woman. Women are supposed to be in their husband's house. They should not talk. No, I'm not for people like that. People that talk down women in public and believe they don't have an opinion, they are not smart, they can't speak up, or they should not be given access to certain positions. I don't believe in such. I believe that both male, both female should have equal access to everything in life, in society. But this concept doesn't work in marriage, because God's ordination is different from marriage. God set up the marital institution, and therefore God runs it by his own rules. So you've got to play to God's rules. So these feminist people now pick the same concept I just explained that shows that we should all have equal rights society. They carry that same context into marriage, and that's where they're supposed to draw the line to divide. In marriage, God made the male the head, and he made him the head over the woman. Let me show you in 1 Corinthians 11 verse 3. You see, but I want you to know that the head of every man is Christ, the head of woman is man, and the head of Christ is God. So you see the order: the head of every man is Christ, the head of the man is woman, and the head of Christ is God. Very clear from scriptures. Let me show you 1 Timothy 2. In 1 Timothy 2, you see something similar also in verse 11. Let a woman learn in silence with all submission. And I do not permit a woman to teach or have authority over a man, but to be in silence. For Adam was formed first, then Eve. So you see again that in the context of marriage, when he says let a woman learn in silence, he's talking about in the family context. Now in the church, a woman can be a pastor. In our church, we have a female pastor, and we are going to have more female pastors. So the woman can go as far as possible, as high as possible. The woman can preach. The woman has spiritual gifts that she can, manifest in the meetings. And that's still talking about the society. But that's not the same in marriage. For example, if the woman is the pastor of the church, she must still be subject to her husband at home. So these feminists just come about, assuming that same concept applies in marriage. And that's where I want to draw the line for you, in case you have been missing it, and in case you have just been blindly arguing and joining them. What these feminists and co push for is the same equality that they have in society. They push for the same for marriage, and that is not something that is obtainable in scriptures. In marriage, hear me very well, the man and the woman are not equals. God made the man the head of the family. He made the man the head over the woman. And when you say the head, he's not talking about domineering attributes and just saying I'm the head, I'm the head. Headship is for order. Headship is for leadership. Just like in the human body, the head gives direction to the entire body. Most of the vital organs are in the head. The eyes that give direction are in the head. The ears that give, hearing, and then you can pick sounds, they are in the head. The brain is in the head. The mouth for speech is in the head. The nostrils for breathing that keeps alive is in the head. The same way some, important things are in the head. The physical head is the same way God wired the marital union, that the man should provide leadership. The same way things in our head provide, just that, like the things in our head, they are the ones that tell our body where to go to, where our legs should go to, and all like that. That's the same way headship in marriage is. Headship in marriage is not for show. Headship in marriage is not so that you can brag that I'm the man and I'm the ruler. God gave me the authority. No. Headship in marriage is to give direction. So in marriage, you can't have two heads. There is only one head. Anything that has two heads is a monster. Anything that has more than one head, have you seen a monster before? Once it has more than one head, it's a monster, and it will do monstrous things. In marriage, let it be clear who is the leader. Otherwise, if there is a tussle for headship in marriage, you will see problems, and that's where many problems lie. And if you are listening to me, you are saying I'm not married, so this does not concern me. You lie. The moment you are in a relationship, begin to practice this. You must subject yourself to your man. That is the authority in your relationship. In Ephesians 5, it says, let the wives submit to their own husbands in everything. In everything. So the wives should submit to their husbands as the church is subject to Christ. And it says the wives should be subject to their own husbands in everything. So the wife should be submitted to the husband. The only person that the woman is allowed to be secondary to, let me just use the word secondary in quotes, is her husband. Every other man in the world is the equal of the woman. Now, except you are in a local church setting where maybe the man is now maybe the pastor or your leader in a group, or you're at work where your boss is a male, you have to respect him, except in that setting. But in every right, the only man that the woman should be subject to is her husband, except by hierarchy, she now has to submit to another person outside. I believe you get what I'm saying. So the woman must respect her husband. Again, in society, she doesn't have any such business. She is just an equal like a man. And you see it is scriptural. She has the same privileges and rights as the man would have. But in marriage, she must submit. She should submit to her own husband, because the husband will provide leadership. The husband will provide direction. And that's why God made it so. The reason God made the man the head primarily is for the sake of order. So that when God wants to make demands and say, so what's going on here? Who am I going to ask? Who's going to be accountable? Is the man. That's why in marriage, the man is the accountable one to God. That's why you see here that it says the head of the man is Christ. So the man is also subject to Christ. Christ is leading the man. Can you see that now? So I want you to understand what I've just explained to you now. Oh woman, oh man, woman in society, you have every right to spread your wings and fly and become whatever. I celebrate women that do great things in life. But in marriage, you have to be subject to your husband, submitted to him. Don't let anything stop you. Some people don't want to submit to their man because of disparity in age. Maybe he's just 1 year older than me. Why will I submit? Are we not age mates? Nothing like that. In marriage, God made the man the head so that he can give direction, he can nurture, he can provide, he can give account of the family. And the woman is to make that work easy by submitting. Don't let social status, maybe you are more well known, you are a public figure, you are an influencer, or you are influential, or you have influencer, any of them. You have influence, whatever it is. Your man is your leader. So even if you have 500,000 followers on Instagram and he has 5,000 followers on Instagram, you are under him. Oh woman, it looks like a post or like a teaching to attack women. Well, don't see it like that, except you don't want correction. So don't let the social status be a problem where you are now saying, well, because I'm a doctor, but you are not a doctor. I went to school, you didn't go to school. Such things are not, are not to hold water. You don't want to hear wrong counsel to people just counseling you wrongly. People telling you, if I'm the one, I don't agree. I will not allow any man to do that nonsense to me. Yeah, that can work in society. Woman, fight for your right society. But when you enter into marriage, the man is not your equal. Your husband is not your equal. You must submit to him. You must be led by him. So, and don't let background influence from where you grew up from, the way things were done. Don't let it influence you wrongly. You man, same thing. Man, don't see your wife as a punching bag or someone you just trample underfoot. You are supposed to bring her close to you, nurture her side by side. But you are not equals. So you provide leadership. You man that doesn't provide leadership, that is a coward of a man, you should wake up. God made you the head so that you can give direction to the family, to your wife, to your children. So if you're a single man, start from now. Start leading your spouse. Start guiding her. Start showing, leadership. Every woman wants to see a man that shows leadership, a man that takes responsibility, a man that takes charge. So there's equality in society and there's equality in marriage, and they are not the same thing. I think I made myself very clear in this video. I'm going to share with you some other things around this line much later after now. I want you to stay tuned and you'll be blessed by it. All right. Thank you. See you again.